And we are now joined by Travis Frederick, brought to you by Dr. Pepper and Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. Travis, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Well, you got to win
Awesome.
for the fans and for yourselves. So we're doing great right now. We're excited, man. Thanks.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. It sounds like a good start to a good morning.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Now, it's been I would imagine, a pretty great few days as you were also named one of the finalists for the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. Can you tell us just personally, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's really a huge honor for me to have been nominated as our team's Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. It's the names of the people on the list that have had this nomination before is just so incredible, and obviously the people that have won it in our organization, with Roger and Troy and Jason. It's just to be even considered in that company is unbelievable, and I work hard to do positive things in the community. So it's really nice to get some recognition for that and to bring more awareness to some of that stuff that I'm doing and the stuff that needs awareness brought to it.
Have you already cleared out a spot on your shelves that you have for an award? Because I know how much you like to brag about your awards.
Yeah, I haven't cleared out a spot yet. Looking at that list of nominees, there's one from each team, and those guys are really impressive. There's a lot of really good men doing a lot of really good things throughout the league.
But if you had to drop a couple off the list, who do you think doesn't belong?
Well, I think that everyone on that list made it for a reason, and each team gets to select their nominee, and then at the end of the year they make a selection on who actually wins the award. But to even be selected from the 63 guys that we have here in the building is quite an honor. So it's the same way at each of those teams. There are a lot of people doing a lot of things in each of the cities. So I'm not sure you can drop anybody off that list.
Well, we're pretty proud of what you've done, and if you ever need any help from us and our show, we'd love to help out in any way we can, man. We really appreciate it.
Well, that's awesome. Well, one way that you can help is, I've been sending some tweets out about using the Walter Payton Man of the Year hashtag and my name, and if we win the social media competition, so if we can get everybody to be tweeting this and retweeting each other's things, we can win another $25,000 to go to my foundation and help kids who are hungry.
Ooh.
There you go, DFW. You have an assignment for this afternoon. And how long does that roll to?
That's going to roll, I think, up until the week before the Super Bowl.
All right. We have an assignment. We have something to accomplish. And the mission has been stated, Kevin.
All right, you know what to do, Tolos. So I'm really curious, going back to the game yesterday. Outside of some of the obvious things like yard gains, how can you tell when the offensive line is on point and just really clicking during the game?
I think we really focus in on our technique and trying to hone in on trying to get as perfect as we can with that. But when things start to get moving and get to rolling, and you see that Zeke's been running super hard, and when Tony's been in, he's been running really hard, things just all of a sudden start to move in a direction that isn't exactly perfect. And as bad as that sounds, that you aren't using the correct technique, it's when you really start rolling, when you are using techniques that aren't necessarily perfect, but it's because it's working so well. And so it's kind of a weird cyclic thing that you're trying to get back to the right stuff, but it's working really well, so you want to just keep doing that. So I think that's when you really get the feeling of it.
I imagine you're upbeat for any touchdown your team scores, but are you any more upbeat when you snap the ball, have to slide over and stuff somebody who's trying to attack the line of scrimmage so Zeke can slide in there for the touchdown?
Every touchdown is amazing. I think it's really important to celebrate each of those because they're so hard to come by in the NFL. The teams that we're playing against are really, really good, and it's not easy to be scoring like that. So any touchdown is really good, and I specifically prefer the rushing touchdowns, but I'm pretty happy with the passing ones as well.
Oh, take that, Amari.
Oh, man. God. Jeez.
I'm just kidding.
Now, I heard the Saturday night speech, and I don't know how often do we do a Saturday night speech every week? Is that something that happens with the team?
Like from the coaches?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And are they often like awe-inspiring, or are there some moments where it's just like we really needed this one?
The speeches are the head coach's deal, he always plans it and has it all set out and sort of plans it out throughout the week. He'll touch on it on Wednesday when we get started, and then hit on it again throughout the week and really sum it up on Saturday night. And it's talking about the things that we really need to hone in on and focus on to win the game. And recently it's been a lot about coming together as a team and winning things as a team. You can't just do it as one player. You can't just do it as an offense or a defense or a special teams unit. Everybody has to do it together.
Yeah, I was kind of talking about complementary sports, and you add a good pitcher to the Rangers roster,
Mm-hmm.
and no matter how good the offense is, sometimes maybe the pitching kind of lets them down, and you never want that moment where one side feels a certain way. Was that kind of what he means by the complementary part of playing together?
Yeah, I think so. It's not necessarily always about holding up your end of the bargain, if you will. I think the more important thing about complementary team football is that when things aren't going well for one side of the ball, the other side picks it up. And then if, let's say we have a 3 and out, the defense goes out and gets a 3 and out immediately to get the ball back and give us another chance. Or, they got an interception and, let's say we didn't score on that. That's really disappointing for the defense, knowing that they got a turnover and we should have scored, but we didn't, but then they go back out and pick us up. So it's really about working together and trying to help each other and keep everybody upbeat and moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, it's kind of that same idea of momentum. I know some people believe in it, some don't, but you get a big swing of momentum from an interception. That can change what the offense can do too there.
Do you believe in momentum then, Travis?
I think that there are things in the game that cause momentum shifts, but I think momentum is really like the enemy of all things.
Oh.
Because it's really important, in my opinion, to stay super level-headed no matter what the case is. And I think with momentum, sometimes you can cause yourself to fall into the swing of that. So I see the games in the NFL sort of as a roller coaster. You're always going up and down. Sometimes things are going well, sometimes they're not. Sometimes you're at the high point for a really long time, but at some point you're going to go down. So to me, staying in that middle ground and not getting too high or too low is really important to be consistent. And when you swing with that momentum, it can be really good, and it can be really good for a long time. But at some point, it's going to come crashing down on you.
So I found out by doing a little studying, Travis, that there was a Jason Garrett that played minor league baseball, and he was from the University of Texas in Arlington. But it is not this Jason Garrett.
Sure.
Do you happen to know? Did he play baseball in some other area of DFW? Did he mention that at all?
Our Jason Garrett?
Yes, your coach. Yeah.
I don't know that he's ever played baseball in the DFW. I think I've heard a story of him mentioning that he played in maybe middle school or high school.
Okay.
But I'm not so sure about past that.
Well, then I did my own study, and I have come up with a non-baseball question. Do you or do you not own your very own Santa Claus suit?
I do own my very own Santa Claus suit, albeit not a great one. I kind of cheaped out when I bought it. Well, I thought it was just going to be a one-year deal. I didn't realize it was going to be an every-year commitment. And I think I would have purchased a more sturdy, maybe a little more premium version had I known it was going to be a multi-year deal.
Why do you keep talking about this situation as if it's past tense? You realize you can go back out and buy a new Santa suit, right?
Well, the problem there lies that by the time that I remember that I need to dress back up, for Jason's event, it's always too close for me to go out and get another suit. So really what I should do is order one today for next year. But then, do you get it? You try it on and then put it back in the closet? I really just need to I need to be more proactive and more forward facing.
Do you have a good ho ho ho? Can you give us one?
Well,
I'd love the sound.
Yeah, I can ho 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 for you. Are you ready for him?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Ho 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 ho!
That was lovely.
That was impressive.
I really
Thanks.
feel the Christmas spirit right now.
You really, by drawing it out, I think it really gives some jolliness to it. You can't just ho ho ho. That's too boring.
Yeah.
You gotta put some rhythm in it.
There are probably kids across DFW right now that are like, holy geez, KNC has the actual Santa Claus on right now.
You don't think the kids in DFW are at school right now?
That's what I was going to say. Those kids should be at school. This is the last week at school. Don't blow off the last week of school.
They can listen during class on their radio.com app, Kevin.
Oh, that seems reckless to me. So do you think perhaps after football, especially with the beard and the size that you have, you could become the next Santa Claus?
I'm not sure that I could ever fill those shoes, but I think maybe in the future I could see myself helping Santa out and stepping in, maybe sitting in at an event, or maybe a mall or something like that. But first things first, I'm gonna have to get myself a new suit, and really I would like to wait until my beard really turns white and I can be a little bit more authentic.
How much longer do you think you got until that happens?
Probably, hopefully about 40, 50 years maybe.
I like that thing.
50 years?
Think positively, Kevin.
I don't know. When does a beard usually turn as white as snow? I think is what it's called.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
You get a little bit of white or gray in there, but like when it's fully white, maybe 60, 50. I mean, my dad is, he's like 53, and his is, turning a little gray, but it's not like white. So you can only assume, based on genetics, it's got to be about the same.
See, I think he's got a point here. I did have a question though about. I'm going to go back to football real quick.
Oh man,
sorry. I know I'm really.
I was really hoping we were going to dive further into genetics, but that's fine.
When you get called, when your guys get called upon on like a fourth down situation, can you kind of walk me through when do you know that you're getting that play call? Can you tell from the sideline? And then does it add a little extra juice whenever you're like, okay, they trust us to do this?
It's always a good feeling when the coach decides to go for it on fourth, especially knowing, whatever the play is, when we get the play called and it's behind you, or they're really trusting you. It's sort of a vote of confidence. And let me counter that by saying when we decide to punt or kick a field goal on fourth down, that's not a vote of no confidence at all. But it's kind of a juicing moment when you are going to go for it on fourth, and we don't get the play until Dak calls it in the huddle, because we generally go into a game plan having a couple different calls up for that situation, so we don't know exactly what it's going to be, but usually we can plan on it being maybe one of 4 or 5 plays.
Now, you talked about, and I know this is something that the team and the coach is very big on, is day-to-day, not getting too high, not getting too low, and I certainly understand that. I'm curious, though, is it difficult at all when you roll into, a game against Philly that's a division rival, a longtime rival, and a game that could clinch your spot in the playoffs?
No, it's not. For us, it's just like you come into work, you follow the same process, you do it again. I imagine it to be very similar to somebody with a normal job. You come into work, you have a set of responsibilities. Those responsibilities may change from week to week, but in general, you're going to be doing the same thing. You're going to be working the same hours. You're going to be, and that's kind of how you have to treat it, because if you let one game get too big, then the pressure and all of the other things, start to make a difference in that game. But if you just treat it like every other game, it allows you to be the most successful.
All right, everybody, go blow up Travis's Twitter right now. I just tweeted it out. Travis Frederick is. We want him to win Man of the Year, and so that
he hoed for us.
He
Come
absolutely
on.
did. He did that for the Tolos right there. So at T Frederick 72 and hashtag WPMOY challenge, so that the Blocking Out Hunger Foundation can get an extra $25K right there.
Awesome, thank you.
Appreciate it very much, Travis. We'll talk with you next week.
Talk to you later.
Travis Frederick, the Dallas Cowboys finalist for the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, brought to you by Dr. Pepper and Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys.